Managing Director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner, joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, we love bringing on Tony D. Talking about all kinds of different, very interesting topics. Tony, how are you today, my friend?
I am fine and proud to be among you. Good morning.
I shout out the idea that Biden won't make it 4 years, that before too long, the people he surrounds himself will take over and all that goes along with this. But, you know, we opened up also talking about the chaos in Washington. It's never ending.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And I mean, you know, in follow-up to your most excellent monologue, I've been spending time here with a sore head looking at this, getting to the whole idea of can people really say what they believe if they believe something at all, regardless of who they are? I've been reading this Biden-Sanders, what they call the Unity Memorandum, or in some cases it's called the Biden-Sanders Manifesto. And it is a plot to save the world in the minds of some. It goes on for 110 pages, so it's absolutely unbelievable. It deals with 6 major areas: climate, criminal justice, fair economy, education, universal health care, and immigration. But the one that really caught my eye, as far as, you know, we have talked for, you know, over a year about the fact that, somebody can go to where they need to go regardless of what their color is. If they've got the cash, if they've got the drive, they've got the determination, nothing stops anybody. Well, this memorandum starts off in the beginning and says, none of that's working. Race-neutral stuff is no good. We are going to start a new system of shall we say, property development. Now, I keep hearing, you know, you're driving along, you know, on the Fox network, you hear Bill O'Reilly, you know, they're coming for your house in the suburbs. You hear Donald Trump, they're coming for your house in the suburbs. And I started to think about that. I said, well, what do you mean by that? How is that going to work? How is that possible? And basically the objective is, in this memorandum, to democratize housing, to quote-unquote, you know, the level playing field that we had that's just, you know, we don't want to play football anymore, we want to play hopscotch. And here's how we're going to play hopscotch. We're going to make it so that, number one, and this is happening at the local level too, the amount of ignorance, either through our legislative representatives or those who are running or those that won't admit to it, with regard to quote-unquote liberalizing zoning requirements, and to the point of really being crazy. I mean, to me, is staggering. But if you take it from the top down, the way that they're going to do this thing nationally, it's very clever. It's very insidious by dealing with appraisals. For example, 2 similar houses are built, Lee Elci. One is built in a city, say New London. Another is built in a suburb. And the person whom I'm driving by on Route 97 in Pomfret with the Joe Biden signs and the beautiful colonial house gets to a point where he's had it with high taxes and he wants to go to Florida and he thinks his house is worth $300,000. So he lists it, and, you know, Joe and Betty Coed come in 3 years out of college. Hey, this is great. This is here. We're going to raise our family. And as they do it, they go to the bank, and the bank says, well, we can only lend you with 180. Well, what do you mean 180? The house is 3. People are clamoring for this. No. We have uniform standards for lending and appraising, so we can't lend you more than that. So, you know, you either got to hit up grandma or, you know, say goodbye to your house. And, you know, when that happens, you know, and again, this could be a couple of color buying from a Caucasian. None of that, you know, hey, throw it out the window. None of this stuff works. So this is one way that they're going to do it. And the fact of the matter is, where you may be very angry at politicians as I am for the stuff they're pulling, no one's being honest about this. And I'll just say one thing about Mr. Biden, who, in my business, you know, we use the term non-compos menace, or, you know, non-comp. When he can look at Donald Trump and say there is no manifesto, he probably believes it, because I don't think in his mind he can conjure up something like this. I don't think he even understands it. That's my opening statement.
All right, so explain that again. So if 2 people are going for an appraisal, so how is that going to break down the you know, this?
Well, if I can't can't get a mortgage for a property, I can't buy it.
Right.
It's supply and demand, and it messes with supply and demand.
But if I'm able to, so I'm trying to sell. Let me just do that again for everybody. So you're trying to. I want to move to Florida.
Right.
So I want to sell my house, and I think it's worth $380, but they're only going to give me. Well, so they're only going to give the next person to borrow at $300.
It's a uniform standard,
I see
so
what
they
you're
will
saying.
only give your potential buyer what
Gotcha.
they would give for a house, say, in New London City for some similar size and of similar, whatever the case may be.
Wow.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Very, very clever. Again, Joe Biden, who's non-compos menace, I don't think he gets any of this. And basically, this is like 100 and something pages. I can go on. I mean, I could talk about it next week. I could talk about it 5 weeks from now.
Well, what is that from again? Tell everybody where they.
It is called the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force Statement. It's referred to as the Biden-Sanders Manifesto. If you go to Google, you put in Biden-Sanders Manifesto, a very nice PDF of 120 some odd pages will hit you in the head.
Biden-Sanders or Biden-Harris?
I'm sorry, Biden-Sanders, because this was the Democrat Party's way of, quote-unquote, getting the people who are, like, way out there to the centerists. And this is, like, quote-unquote, these are the things we all could agree on. So they just kept writing and writing and writing and writing.
Wow.
And ended up with something which, believe me, did not come out of the non-comp mind of Joe Biden.
Interesting. So, it's funny that you're bringing this up because I also started this morning by trying to figure out where we'll be 4 years from now if, in fact, we do have a Harris-Biden presidency and some of the things that would drastically change. Off the top of your head, I know you haven't done any research on this, other than what you had just said about them changing the demographics of the country. What else do you see happening?
Well, if you read this thing, which, believe me, I mean, you got to pour yourself a very strong drink to do it. It is basically taking every single capital incentive that somebody would have and effectively removing it. Like, for example, banks. We go to banks, we get our mortgages, we save our money, and believe me, not all banks are wonderful. I was in a bank, but the fact of the matter is you need them. The objective of this here, from what I can see, is to make it so difficult for banking and building and things like this. And, well, we're going to have, quote-unquote, a national bank. And guess who the national bank is going to be? And it's right in this document, the U.S. Post Office. Really?
Are you kidding me?
I kid you not. Who got out of that business years ago because they had no idea what to do. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's like, it's kind of like your grandchild coming to you and say, hey, I got a great idea for a rocket ship. Hey, we tried that in 1963. It didn't work.
Wow.
That's one thing. And I mean, the other thing I think is you're going to have a lot of disenfranchised people, because like Keith Olbermann, who went off this week about, how much he hates Trump and all that stuff. Well,
right.
He had a house in Southington he couldn't sell. I don't know if he finally sold it, but once he realizes when that couple comes to purchase that house, he might be thinking something differently. So there's going to be a lot of those people, like my neighbor with the sign that thinks everything is wonderful.
Yep.
It's layers of fat that are going to be cut off, and people are just pawns in the game and they can't see it.
So simple. Such a simple way, though.
Dirt simple.
Isn't that amazing? So
yeah, very simple.
If they were able to actually do that, and again, it seems like that would be the goal. I mean,
I believe in capital. I believe in entrepreneurship. I believe, this is, that's what I did. I would like to help others, but hey, they don't want that kind of stuff.
Man.
It just doesn't matter to them.
All right, I think you scared a lot of people today.
Well, believe me, go read it. What I will do is on your stream, I will post.
Will you do that? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and it's something people really need to challenge those with who are running for office. Man, this is serious.
All right, Tony. Great stuff today, as always. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, pal. We'll be back. Bob Lazari next.